What's up, guys? We're back with another Gundam Universe review, taking a look at the first retailer exclusive in the line. We've got our hands on the Target exclusive Gundam Seed Strike Rouge. So this one seems kind of appropriate, I suppose, because it's a color palette swap on an already existing figure that happens to be red, so it obviously makes sense to give it to Target. We've got it here in the standard style box for the line, so there's no change up to packaging. You've got the figure there in the window. We've got the Strike Rouge on the front in a big spread of artwork, and then of course you've got product shots along the spine, and then the back of the box has got a large product shot with a couple smaller ones showcasing some of its articulation points, its accessories, and then we've got a cross-sell for the most recent wave with the Tallgeese and the God Gundam down there at the bottom. So let's do it. Let's pull it out and take a look. And here we go, out of the package, our Strike Rouge, and this figure is, again, a repaint of the original Strike Gundam that we got a couple waves back. So if you're familiar with that figure, you basically have an overwhelming knowledge of what to expect with this figure already going in. The big difference is the color palette. So for the uninitiated, let's see how this thing moves, let's see how it works. And it is one of the Gundams in this line that is, in my opinion, pretty locked down. The design in many respects sort of stops things from moving, but you can get it into decent enough poses if you just work at it. So we've got a head that is kind of locked down to start with. It cannot really do anything up or down. It just sort of sits there. You do have swivel side to side. It can sort of bobble up, but it doesn't really want to sit there. So you'll have to work with it to try to get any sort of upwards mobility. Arms go out all the way at the shoulder. They, of course, rotate all the way around. You do have a little shimmy there. It's not a butterfly joint, but it's a ball peg, so it does give you a little bit of forward momentum. There is a bicep swivel. We've got double jointed elbows, and again, the range on elbows in this line is pretty crazy, so they move way, way further than you normally would expect. We've got ball pegs at the wrist, so up and down, side to side, full rotation. There is a torso cut here at this figure. The torsos and the waists in this line are definitely the big area of contention for me because they are locked down because of the design and just how the hinge is implemented. There is a hinge inside the chest of this figure, but a lot of the design just sort of keeps it sort of tight. So you can go backwards slightly and you can go forward slightly, and you can hear it. Like it's very much struggling to do that, but you can get it to go backwards and you can get it to go forwards. It's not hurting the figure by any means, but the tolerance is pretty tight. You don't really have much side to side, but there is a little. And then waist twist only goes like this far, so it only swivels side to side. It doesn't really do a whole lot there, unfortunately. The skirt pieces do move, so they'll swivel side to side on the side, and then the front ones will kick forward a little bit. This helps, of course, with your legs, which do have pretty good range, so you can kick them out, and you can kick them forward all the way. They do go backwards a decent bit as well, and then you've got your thigh swivel. Double jointed knees, but they really only go back about that far due to where the hinges are. The hinges here, and then the hinges here, and then they hit the joint in the middle. And then we've got our ankles, which are full rotation with surprisingly good rocker, and then you've got hinge forward and backward, and then this piece here, the sort of cross guard, does move as well to kind of help cover the gaps when you do this, because of course when you're moving this foot there's a lot of space between the ankle and the foot, so you can move this piece around just to sort of help hide it a little bit and to make it seem a little bit more seamless. So this thing can move pretty decently. It is, of course, limited at the torso and the neck. Those are usually my criticisms with this line for the most part. Otherwise, though, I generally don't have too many issues moving them around, posing them, or anything like that. You can get them into walking poses, running poses, and then they can get, battle ready pretty easily. The one big thing, though, is, of course, that quote-unquote ab crunch, if it's truly an ab crunch, and then the waist twist. Aesthetically, though, I do really like this figure, and I'm a big fan of the Strike Gundam in the first place, so I'm a happy camper when it comes to that Gundam and its design. And again, this is that same figure, so if you like that figure and you happen to like red and pink Gundams, you're probably going to be happy with this one. For whatever reason, I kind of prefer this look for the Strike. I mean, the Strike has a very classic Gundam color scheme, and I really like different stuff when it comes to Gundam figures, or just suits in general, so this being a slightly rosy pink with pink and red accents, because of course it had to be pink for a female pilot, it looks pretty cool. I think it works really well here, and it's definitely going to stand out on your shelf if you are up to date on Gundam Universe figures, because most of them are just white at this point. So this one, while looking very white still, it definitely does have a pink hue to it, and then it's got all of these pink accents like at the bottom of the feet, the torso, the actual V up top as well as pink, and then you've got a lot of differences when it comes to the regular strike, and we'll do a comparison, but you know, things like the chest are now red instead of blue, things like that. There is not, in pretty much the majority of this line, paint on this figure. This guy is overwhelmingly molded plastic, which I am perfectly fine with. It still gives off that sort of Gundam feel, because why would it really need paint if it's all just sort of one piece of, well, metal, or in this case plastic. So I'm happy with the fact that it all is very clean and consistent. There is no concern for paint rub or flubs or anything like that on this one. It is exactly what you see is what you get. The color is going to be the color. It's super saturated, bright, and vibrant. And again, this one is definitely going to stand out amongst the other figures. So while it is kind of an unconventional color scheme for a Gundam, I think it works really well here. It works pretty well for the design of the strike in general. So it's a nice looking figure, no issues with it. I think the sculpt is nice. It's very much a factory fresh Gundam, which is the case for this entire line, so you're not going to see any sort of wear and tear or any kind of battle damage on it. But I think for what this line's intent is, this is a pretty solid figure. And because why not, we'll do a quick comparison between the new figure, the ROUGE, and the original Strike Gundam from a couple waves back. So there is, again, you know, a lot that's different, but at the same time, there's really not. It's just a color palette swap. So as far as build, overall construction, and then of course articulation, if you have the Strike, or if you're familiar with it, you know how this figure is going to move. They are exactly the same. There is nothing different, nothing changed about them. It's just color palettes. So your reds are replaced with pinks, your blues are replaced with reds, your whites are replaced with a rosy, light pink. And again, I think I kind of prefer this look for whatever reason, but this is a solid looking Gundam too. So they're going to complement each other on your shelf really well. And so far, I'm really enjoying taking pictures of them alongside each other. It works really well to just have some sort of contrast between these Gundams that look almost identical, except for the fact that their colors are radically different. Now, as far as accessories goes, the ROUGE has the same setup that we got with the regular Strike. Again, since this is just a repaint, there's not going to be anything new here. So that means we get the beam rifle, which again doesn't really have any paint on it. It does have blue for the scope at the end there. Good sculpt though, it holds it just fine in the trigger finger hand, which we do get a singular trigger finger hand, so that replaces a fist on the right, and then we get a gripping hand on the left, and then you get the shield here, which I honestly prefer in this color scheme. I still kind of prefer this entire suit in this color scheme for whatever reason, but nice kind of rose pink, and then you've got the red and that slightly metallic black. And it does have the connector piece here, so you grip the shield with this sort of bar, and then this piece actually pegs into the forearm on the Gundam to keep everything sort of stable and just all together. We do get the armor schneiders, so you get these two knives here. Again, no paint on them, just like in the regular release. So you get a pretty solid array of accessories. We still don't get any strike packs or anything like that, so there's none of that kind of stuff going on. This is, again, just a straight repaint, but as far as what we do get, I'm still pretty happy with this. I didn't really have any issues with that first release either. Still really dig the shield. I like the inclusion of the knives, and then you do get a Tamashii base adapter if you have those stands available. So pretty solid array of accessories, but again, it's still the same kind of stuff that we've seen before. So yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy with this figure. Generally speaking, I don't have many issues with the Gundam Universe line. I understand what the point of this line is, and I'm really happy still just to see Gundam figures like at Target. It really does something for me to be able to go to a store and see them, and this one is of course no exception, being a Target exclusive. I think the overall sculpt on this figure is really well done. The color scheme is really great for this one. For the 100th time, I really like the color scheme of this version of the Strike, and then it comes with a decent array of accessories. My only real gripe with this figure, and many of these figures in general, is that I wish there was some way we could figure out a better system for any kind of abdominal and waist movement. There's just a lot of stuff that's locked down here, which does prohibit some posing. Otherwise, it's pretty easy to get this thing moving in many other respects, but it could be a little bit better. So that's going to do it for this look at the Target exclusive Gundam Universe Strike ROUGE. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.